r/NoSleep. Posted by u/Shribin_04 to 1389. I went on my first hunt with my uncle. I might not survive the night. Part 2. Before I went to sleep, I called my parents. They were very worried because they had not heard me all day. I decided to keep quiet about my experiences from the forest and told them that I had a bad signal here and that because of that I could not contact them earlier. I asked them how they were on holiday. They told me that they were great and that they were having a great time. I still haven't forgiven them for leaving without me. And I told them that. My father got angry when he heard that and immediately started scolding me and saying that I was an ungrateful brat. He always does that whenever everything is not his way. And then he mentioned something that just made me angry. We started arguing and in the end I just hung up. I set the phone aside. And I started getting ready for tomorrow. The room I was in was small but quite nice. Inside was a small bed, a closet, and a small stove whose sole purpose was to keep the room warm and to make tea in the morning. The room also had an old window that was above the bed. Since it was old and in poor condition, the cold from the outside was getting a little inside the room. When I had packed all my things for tomorrow, I went to bed. My alarm rang at exactly 5 in the morning, and this time I woke up immediately. I washed my face, got dressed and got ready to leave. When he saw that I got up on time, he was surprised and smiled. He said that today we are going hunting around the river. And that he has to tell me some things in advance. What I can expect when we go there. And here's what he told me. 1. As you already know, the closer you are to the river, your perception of reality is changing. You will hear things and you will see things, so you have to be careful and alert at all times. 2. There is one creature that we call the guardian. He is the guardian of the forest and the animals that live on it. He looks and resembles an old man. His clothes are old and torn. And his skin is the same as the bark of a tree and is covered with moss. He has no eyes and uses his hearing the most. Because of his appearance, it is very difficult to notice him. Therefore, one should always be careful and act as if he is close, which he probably is. The best thing is to try to be calm and stand still and not make a lot of noise. If he notices you, the only thing you can do is run away. And pray that he doesn't catch you. In case he catches you, there are a couple of ways to escape, but I'll mention that later. 3. As you move you may find a small mill. Its condition can vary from a state of decay to looking like new. If you come across the mill, just go back. The mill is not dangerous, but sometimes it happens that the guardian or some other creature sleeps in it. Therefore, I suggest that you do not enter the mill. The only exception would be if you are in the forest and night falls, then you should go in the mill because it is safe, but it has its own rules. 4. If you are in a situation where you have to cross the river, you have two options: to try to cross the river directly or to cross the old bridge. Crossing the river directly is dangerous. The river is fast and difficult to overcome. Sometimes it can happen you get caught in a whirlwind and drown. B. If you try to cross the old bridge, there is a chance that you will meet a little boy fishing from the bridge. The bridge is made of wood. One large trunk is used as a platform and a small fence on one side of the platform. You will have to walk past the boy. He will greet you with a smile on his face and start a conversation with you. The longer you talk to the boy, the worse his appearance will be. First a cut will appear on his neck and then his body will begin to fall apart. You have to make a choice. You can try to comfort the boy and give him something valuable you own, or push him into the river below. Whatever you do will have an impact. If you manage to comfort him, he will become your friend and may even help you in some situations. If you push him into the river, the opposite will happen. You will no longer be able to use the bridge to cross and he will seek revenge. If you do nothing, he will take your soul and use it as bait for fishing. 5. Sometimes you can see a golden glow in the river. It is old gold. It is best to avoid it, but if you need it, it is best to take only one handful, because the more gold you take and put it in your pockets, you become heavier and you sink into the mud. If you think this is easy, you're wrong. Because you just get crazy and you don't know when to stop until it's too late and you're halfway stuck in the mud. 6. When you kill an animal, you need to skin it immediately in case the noise of gunfire catches the guardian's attention. Now comes the disgusting part. You have to put on the skin of that animal and stand on all fours and act like you are that animal and pretend to be wounded. He will come to heal your wound. He will use his tears that have the power to heal. If you manage to deceive him, he will go in search of the hunter who wounded you. When you make sure he has got far, run away and avoid that place for a few days, since he is now in a phase of anger and will kill you if he catches you. If you fail to deceive him, he will skin you and use your skin as a cloak. If the animal is small and its skin cannot be worn, then just run away. Don't make the same mistake as Bobby, who tried to wear rabbit skin. He cloak that the guardian is currently wearing is from him. When I listened to him to the end, I was terrified because now, unlike before, I was sure that everything he told me was real. When he explained everything to me, we got in the truck and set off. It took us an hour to reach the river. When we arrived, we agreed on where we were going and we separated there. I went to a small hill where there was a path where I was supposed to stand and cover the passages. I was hoping I wouldn't hear the barking of dogs this time, and luckily I didn't hear it. A long time has passed and I haven't heard or seen anything. I decided to continue because of boredom and fear of the guardian. I walked by the river and found the mill my uncle was talking about. It was in a state of decay. The roof was collapsed, one wall had a hole on one side. The only thing new was the mill door that was closed. Looking at that door gave me a strange feeling, as if something was hiding behind that door and waiting for me to open it to attack me. I decided to move away and continue in the opposite direction. While walking in the other direction, my uncle told me over the walkie-talkie that he had found a bear on the other side of the river and that I had to come and help him. I looked at the river today. It was cold outside and I decided to go to the bridge. As I approached the bridge, I saw a boy fishing from the bridge. As soon as I stepped on the bridge, the boy appeared in front of me. He had black hair and green eyes. He was wearing a red t-shirt and white shorts. And in one hand he was carrying a fishing rod. He started asking me questions. Like when I was born, why am I here, and a few more questions about me. Through talking to him, I completely forgot about the rule. Until an incision appeared on his neck, blood began to flow down his neck. And he kept talking as if everything was fine. And then his body began to disintegrate before my eyes. The tone of his voice changed so much that he sounded like the devil himself. His eyes turned red. I remembered that I had no time, and in the speed of the situation I pushed him into the water. When he fell into the river, he started screaming, and after a few seconds he disappeared into the depths of the river. When it was all over I continued on. Moving through the woods, I found traces of a bear. I followed the trail and after a while I found a bear eating one of those creatures I killed yesterday. I slowly aimed at the bear, hit it in the head, after which it fell to the ground. Then I started skinning him. It took me about 20 minutes to finish. When I finished, I heard something that sounded like someone was running. The guardian immediately came to my mind. I quickly put the bear skin over myself and stood on all fours. The guardian jumped out of a bush. It looked the same as my uncle described it. Only at first glance I couldn't tell if it looked more like a man or a tree. He was moving slowly in my direction until he found me. I was shaking with fear because thoughts were running through my head about what would happen to me if I failed to deceive him. He started to cry, and as the tears fell he collected them in his hand and poured them over the wound that was on the skin of the bear's head. The wound somehow healed. While he was crying I felt bad, and I felt like I was evil and not him, because he takes care of the animals while I kill them for fun and self-proof. Then he spoke something in some ancient language and tapped me on the head and headed in an unknown direction. As soon as I was sure he was gone I took the bear meat and headed home. I tried to call my uncle but I didn't get an answer from him. It was getting dark and I had to hurry. I had to run through some bushes to get to the river. And as I was running I fell and the rifle flew out of my hand and fell on ground and fired a bullet. I immediately picked up my things and started running. I heard the guardian running behind me. I ran all the way to the bridge, but I remembered that I couldn't use it anymore because of the boy. I jumped into the river and started swimming. I heard the boy's laughter and at one point I felt as if something had caught my leg when I was swimming. But I continued to swim and I saw the mill on the shore and I immediately entered it. Luckily for me, the mill was now in a new condition. I tried to call my uncle, but I still didn't get an answer from him. It's night outside. I locked the door with the key, which was in the lock. But I have a feeling that it will not help me much. My uncle mentioned that the mill has its own rules, but he did not tell me what those rules were. I don't know what to do. The battery on my phone is running low and I will have to not use it until the morning so I can try to contact my uncle again.